Some people, they can move object from hundreds of miles away. One guy we experiment, we actually strip him naked, even strip out underwear, and we locked him into a room in the lab. And he teleported some banknote into the room where he is.
What follows is a deep discussion with Simon Duan, who explains his theory of the universe, including his version of the simulation hypothesis, as well as scientific rational explanation for paranormal activity, people who display superhuman powers or superpowers. The beginning of the discussion involves some technicality, where he dives into what his theory means and the implications, and the latter half of the discussion gets into stories of him studying these supernatural powers and what he's learned in his 20 years of pursuing. Hope you enjoy.
If everything in the universe is bits, does that mean that hypothetically we could be instantiated into a machine, like our consciousness?
Our consciousness is the most fundamental reality, actually, in my model. Yeah. So the consciousness is above all existence. So the consciousness is not derived from the machine, or derived from the computation, or derived from biological interactions. Consciousness is the most fundamental reality. Okay? The consciousness itself actually has no content. Yeah. I have a definition of consciousness. I define consciousness as the power to conceive, to perceive, and be self-aware. Yeah, that's consciousness. Consciousness is the power to conceive, means to create. Yeah, we have creativity. And to perceive means we have cognition capability. We can observe what's being created. Yeah. And we have self-aware. We have I. We have a subject which observes, which creates. So that's the fundamental reality. Yeah. But this reality has no content. Yeah. And the consciousness then create a computer. I call it a Platonic computer because it's not physical. It's beyond the physical. It's more mental. It's idealistic computer. Abstract computer. So this abstract computer is made by the consciousness and made of the consciousness and made from consciousness, made with consciousness. And with this computer, then the content can be created through computation. Yeah. So that's how I sort of developed this simulation hypothesis further. Because I think most people who discuss the simulation hypothesis, they miss some important questions. They keep arguing, they keep speculating, but it's only a speculation. Yeah. To me, if you want to build a scientific model based on the simulation hypothesis, you need to answer several fundamental questions, such as where is the computer? Yeah, where is it coming from? How is it built? Yeah, what is it made of? And what are the properties? When we buy a physical computer, we often ask what's the memory and what's the processing speed. And so what's the property? Of course, the very big question is who is the programmer? How is the program? How is the computer programmed? By answering all those questions, we can progress the speculation into a theory. So my work has been actually trying to build a model which answers those questions. By addressing those questions, and the simulation hypothesis can progress into a theory. So my sort of solution to those problems is actually just building the model which make the computer a platonic computer. Yeah, so it's abstract computer. Uh, it's in the platonic realm of forms. Yeah, according to Plato, the realm of forms are more fundamental, more real. Yeah, the physical reality is only a poor imitation or shadow of the realm of forms. Yeah, so you have a much real, much powerful, which is the archetype of the physical computer. So that's my argument. With the physical computer, you can only render virtual reality, which are not really realistic. Yeah, although it's getting better all the time, it is nothing compared with the physical reality. So with the physical computer, we render the virtual reality, and with the Platonic computer, we render the physical reality. So it is a parallel. Yeah, that's my sort of a model by building a computer by introducing a computer into the Platonic realm of forms. Yeah, and that solve the problems. Where is the computer and how it's made? Yeah, it's basically made from consciousness. Consciousness is the power to conceive, perceive, be self-aware, and that power create the computer and plate it in the Platonic realm. And by running that computer, we generate the physical reality.
So it sounds like in this model, we are living in a matrix of our own creation.
Ultimately, there's only one consciousness. I call it the meta consciousness. Yeah. So meta consciousness is the only one fundamental reality. Yeah. And that reality, the power, creates this machine, creates this Platonic computer. And through the computation of the Platonic computer, we create ourselves, individual human beings or other beings, as well as the environment. Yeah. So this is the reality created by Platonic computer. And we can simulate the process using a physical computer. By using physical computer to create virtual reality, we simulate how the Platonic computer create this real reality.
So was this meta consciousness in existence when the universe came into being?
No, it's before the universe coming
So,
into
so
being.
the meta consciousness is what spawned the universe as we know it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, the meta consciousness is the power to create everything. Yeah. But the mechanism of creation is computation. So that's my addition to this philosophy. Yeah, because the meta consciousness creates everything. It's not new. I mean, every religion talking about this. Yeah, every spiritual tradition talk about consciousness is
So do the
fundamental.
religions consider the meta consciousness to be God?
Yeah, I think different religion, different spiritual tradition give its different name. So also different people have different level of understanding of this meta consciousness. Yeah. But fundamentally, there's only one. Yeah. With different tradition, they call it different names. Yeah. Some call it God, some call it Tao. Yeah. Some call it Brahman. So they give it different names, and also with different level of understanding, we have a different image of this. But fundamentally, I think it's just the power which is contentless, and by creating this computer, and they can generate contents, all kinds of contents, including each one of us.
So to go back to the original question, if consciousness is without content, it's sort of like a canvas upon which all the content is
Yeah.
generated,
Yeah.
does that mean it is impossible theoretically to either create new consciousness or to instantiate consciousness in a like in a computer? Like, would it be possible to put my mind in a computer?
Um, well, of course, that's a quite hot topic, whether the machine can become conscious. And so the consciousness has no content. And by creating human being or other beings, the conscious defragment itself
This is the
into.
meta consciousness you're talking about?
Sorry?
Is this the meta consciousness you're talking about? That
Yeah, meta
defragment?
consciousness. Yeah, I'm talking about the meta consciousness. Yeah, meta consciousness is actually the source of everything. Yeah, and when it creates beings like us, fragment itself into each beings. So we have an individual consciousness. You can call it. It's like a fractal. It's diffraction, this dissociation. You can also call it dissociation. Yeah. So it fragments itself into different beings. Yeah. So we also have a power to conceive, to perceive, and be self-aware. So that's how we have this power inside us. Yeah. Whereas the external forms are out of the computation, out of the rendering. Whereas the individual consciousness is also formless, also contentless within us. Yeah, because it's the fragmentation of the meta consciousness. Yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes sense.
formless. It's formless. Yeah, and whereas the forms are rendered by the computation.
So if we wanted to create more consciousnesses, does that mean we would have to defragment ourselves to do that?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, you don't actually create more consciousness because consciousness is ubiquitous. It's actually everywhere. Yeah, and you can create individual consciousness. We are actually defragment ourselves in the virtual reality world. Yeah,
Hmm.
when we play games, our consciousness actually defragmented into the avatar. Yeah, if you only play one avatar, you actually just defragment yourself into that avatar. But if you play multiple avatars, your consciousness, individual consciousness, actually defragmented further into all those avatars. Yeah. If it's not space, then it's time. Because when you finish playing avatar, you may change another avatar. When you play a different game, you have a different avatar. So you defragment yourself into different avatars across the virtual space and cross time. So
Even
that,
if
that yeah,
even if we don't play games, if time acts as a separator, then doesn't that mean that we're always defragmenting based on time? Like the self 5 seconds ago is different from the one right now, my individual
that's
consciousness.
correct. Yeah, that's a good insight actually. Our mind, yeah, our individual consciousness actually it's continuous. Yeah, it's not really defragment in that way because during one lifetime of human beings the individual consciousness is continuous. Yeah, it doesn't actually stop. Even you go to sleep, next day when you wake up, you have the same individual consciousness.
Right.
Yeah, in that sense, in us we don't really we keep it continuous. Yeah, keep it consistent. That's why we can experience ourselves as a continuous being. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, and we have our own specific identity that we hold on to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, otherwise the life become very complex, very confusing. While this body still alive, it's much simpler. Just keep one identity, one consciousness, one observer. Yeah. You can observe the world, observe yourself consistently through time.
Now that I think about it, maybe something that happens in people who develop Alzheimer's or other types of dementias is that their consciousness starts to unravel in a way because their sense of identity starts to get lost.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that is true. I think the extreme case is of course, it's the death. Yeah, your individual consciousness is no longer with you. Yeah, it doesn't mean it disappears, but it's no longer with you. Yeah, I think in the old age, it becomes a gradually process to leave you.
I see.
Yeah, eventually it will leave you completely. Like when we are playing a game, when we finish the game, and that avatar is no longer alive. Yeah, when we finish the game, that essentially that avatar is dead. Yeah, but we, the player, is not dead. Similarly, our player is not in this level. Yeah, our player is in the next level above,
And our
actually,
player is the meta consciousness
eventually.
eventually.
But before we reach the meta consciousness, there's many levels.
I see.
So in my model, the cosmos is actually a multiverse with many parallel level of universe. So in each parallel universe, it's a different reality, and it's uh, vibrating at different frequency, and that's the structure of cosmos. Eventually, it's the meta consciousness, but meta consciousness before the created into this level, there's many other levels, although they are not physical. So, um, because with this machine, you can make the machine operate at different clock speed. Yeah, when we run computer, we have clock speed. Yeah, and if you run the platonic computer at different clock speed, you create different level reality, and each level reality has the different clock speed, and therefore different refraction rate, different rate of update. Yeah,
Does that mean that
refresh.
time would pass differently?
That's right. Time would pass differently, and also you have a different refresh rate. You have a different vibration frequency. Yeah. So different level of universe is actually coexist in this creation, like a different radio or TV station. By tuning into different vibration frequency, you experience different reality, different level reality.
So that means it's possible for us to access these other virtual realities if we
Oh
can
yeah,
find a way to change our clock speed or vibration frequency.
that's right, exactly. That's how people do that through different ways. Yeah. Some people do this through meditation. Yeah. Some people do this through dreaming,
Lucid
especially
dreaming,
lucid dreaming.
right?
Yeah. Lucid dreaming, you actually, your conscious operate at different vibration frequency, then you tune in that level reality. Yeah. And that different level reality can be more real than the physical reality. Yeah. Some people who experience the lucid dreaming, they will tell you that that reality is more real, even. Yeah. So by tuning into different vibration frequency, you tune in different information broadcasting. Yeah, it's like a tuning into different TV station. Then you experience different level of reality. Yeah. So the cosmos is multi-level parallel universes. And each level is actually nested inside the level above. I don't know whether I'm explaining it clearly. When you play a video game, yeah, and that video game world is nested inside this reality. It's parallel, but it's nested inside. Although once you go into that reality, it seems to be boundless, yeah? You can run forever. It will never reach to the end. But it's still nested within this reality. Yeah. So our reality is a nested parallel of the level above. Yeah.
And
So
does the clock speed go up as you go up the levels?
actually go down.
Go down. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the clock speed goes a lot slower if you go up. Eventually there's no clock speed. Meta consciousness is eternal, it's timeless. It doesn't operate the clock. So it goes slower until it's stationary, until it's constant, never changing. Yeah. So that's the fundamental reality. And from that fundamental reality, you create a clock, yeah, which goes faster and faster at each level to create different vibration frequency. And using that clock, you create a different level of reality.
I see. Have you done lucid dreaming yourself?
No, I haven't, but I talk to a lot of people. I see myself as a researcher. I'm not a practitioner. I'm not an experiencer as such. But I talk to all kinds of people. Talking about people who had the lucid dreaming, who had a near-death experience, who are psychic. Yeah, and psychic people, I think they can actually weaken themselves to another level above this, and they can get into the database. Yeah, once you can access the database, you access all kinds of information. And some people can even create psi. Yeah, I don't know whether you know the term psi.
I do not.
Paranormal phenomena.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a magic. It's a real magic. Yeah, it's not a stage magic. It's not a trick. It's actually physically happening. All kind of miracle. You can call it miracles. Yeah, you can change property of the matter. You can teleport object from one position to another, and you can do all sorts of things. And those kind of people are those who can access the database, and they can change some parameters, and therefore the reality actually changes.
So they become kind of like programmers of our virtual reality.
Yeah, that's right. Because every one of us exists at all levels of the cosmos. We, as a meta consciousness, fragment ourselves into different avatars, different beings, and at all levels of the cosmos. We ourselves already exist at all levels. Yeah. Eventually we are just one. We're all one. But we defragment ourselves, yeah, into different beings. But at a different level, we have different roles, we have different images, yeah. But most of us only operate at one level in this reality. We only tune in one TV station, yeah. We experience only one channel. But some people, they can awaken themselves at another level or several levels. So they can tune in different reality, different levels. And by accessing different levels, they can also access the machine, which renders the level below. It's like we can access a physical computer. We can reprogram the virtual reality. Yeah. If you can access the level above, then you can reprogram this reality to a certain extent.
Which is what Neo does in the Matrix.
Sorry?
Which is what Neo does in the Matrix.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It can be done. It's not actually a film. I mean, there's a level of reality in the film. But in reality, I talk to all sorts of people. I visit a lot of weird phenomena, and this makes sense only by the simulation hypothesis. Otherwise, it's not possible.
Because it
Yeah,
breaks the laws of physics.
that's right. That's why most people refuse to believe. I didn't believe until I actually encounter those kind of phenomena. Yeah, which are real,
What's
although
the
it's not
most
common.
What's the
Sorry?
most interesting story you can share of someone you met who displayed this mastery over universe as an algorithm?
We don't have time. It's all sorts. I mean, I initially triggered my interest in looking into the nature of reality. I encountered a dentist who took my wisdom tooth out effortlessly uh, by using a incantation. Incantation is like a spell, like a yeah, like a mantra. Yeah, I was in China, on a business trip. My wisdom tooth start to play up, become very painful, and I consulted with the conventional doctor, and I was told I have to have a. It's not a very small operation actually because it's quite difficult to get out, and I was told I need a general anesthetic. One of my friends said, "Oh, why don't you go to this dentist? He's doing a fantastic job." And so I became curious, and then I went in his clinic. I saw all the celebrities' photo, all the leaders, yeah, even the Politburo of Communist Party, yeah, had their tooth taken out there. So I said, "Oh, this is encouraging. Yeah, let's do it." All he did is actually just using his tweezers to pick that up effortlessly.
With no pain.
Yeah, with a little bit discomfort, but nothing drastic. Yeah. Then we went to lunch together. Yeah, at the lunch, and he asked me. I asked him, what happened? What the hell did you do to me? And he said, I have an incantation. It's a 5-syllable incantation. I use that to loosen people's tooth. Um, so it does it daily. Yeah. So it's not a trick. I don't think it's a trick. But this triggered my interest and curiosity. Yeah. I used to be a materialist. I did my PhD in material science in Cambridge. Yeah, I came from China actually to the UK as a student. I finished my education with a PhD in material science. So I'm supposed to be a material scientist. But this encounter changed my point of view because with material science, I cannot explain it. There's no way I can explain this. Yeah. And this triggered my curiosity, look beyond material science. Yeah. Then I spend a lot of my off-duty time visiting weird people like this and to witness what they can do. Yeah. And some people, they can move object from hundreds of miles away into the places where we experiment. One guy we experiment, we actually strip him naked, even strip out underwear, and we locked him into a room in the lab, and he teleported some banknote into the room where he is. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, all sorts of things. It's incredible. It's incredible. So now I can understand actually there's those people who can actually access the program. I mean, the location data is basically XYZ. Yeah, it's a location. Yeah.
Coordinates.
If
Yeah.
you, yeah, coordinates. If you can change the coordinates, I mean, the position object will change. As simple as that. At the next refresh, it's going to be in another place. Yeah. And some people they can sort of We call it the thoughtography, thought photography. Yeah, you have an image in your mind. Yeah. You can transfer that image into camera, into a film, into a camera film. Yeah, without exposing the film. Yeah. Well, with the information system, we can understand how this is done because it's like an airdrop. Yeah, the mind is basically one display of image. Yeah, and your camera is another display. If you can program it, is make it sync, you can actually airdrop images into another display.
So they're just
Yeah,
copy pasting.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, all kinds of things. Yeah, of course they can do a lot of healing work. Yeah, they can make tumor disappearing or shrink. Yeah, one guy they can actually make the tumor shrink as well as grow at will. Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. So yeah, I have an interview with Jeff Mishlove. He's got a channel called New Thinking Aloud. Yeah, I have an episode with him called Parapsychology in China. I was talking stories of my encounter in China, and if you're interested, you can look up for it.
Yeah, I'll check that out. So how long have you been pursuing this curiosity of the paranormal?
20 years. I mean, this truth encounter triggered my business, and since then, I spend almost all my spare time looking into this. With 20 years time, initially it's curiosity, then it's frustration because I'm still a scientist. I mean, this kind of problem, this kind of phenomena bothers me, and it's like a scratch. It's like an itch. Yeah, it's like a mental itch. You need to scratch it. So it becomes frustration, and that drives me to find a solution, find the explanation. So I tried all sorts of ways until I arrived at the simulation hypothesis. And if you change your worldview, everything becomes simpler. Yeah, I mean, you talk about quantum mechanics, then the most parapsychology researcher actually try to explain paranormal phenomena using quantum mechanics. But I think that's already outdated. Yeah, with the simulation hypothesis, we can actually explain much easier by proposing a computer which render the reality. And therefore, if you can access the database, access the programming, you can actually alter the reality to a limit, of course. For example, this guy who teleport money, he couldn't spend it. Yeah. So we have to pay him to do this. And he make a living by performing this kind of things. When we ask him, why don't you just use the money you teleported? He said, I couldn't, I can't. Yeah, the money I teleported will disappear again in a few days. Yeah. So there's also some kind of rules and governing principles operating as well. You can't just do whatever you want to do. There's a limit. There's a kind of, I think there's a permission also, yeah, at different level. What is allowed, what is not allowed.
Although probably if you could go all the way up to the meta consciousness, you could do anything.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
guessing every level has increasing permissions as you go up.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. That's what the free will, the question of the free will can be explained also. I mean, at the top level, the meta consciousness level, you have unlimited free will. Yeah. The free will is unlimited. Whereas at the bottom level, such as the game world, in the game world, the NPC has no free will. Yeah, it only operates by reacting according to the program. Yeah, in different situations, the NPC will react according to preset program. Yeah, so every level in between, you have a combination of those two extreme. It's a spectrum. Yeah, you have ultimate, unlimited free will, and you have no free will, and everything between is a spectrum.
So we have partial free will.
We have partial free will, and most times we also actually react to situation automatically. Yeah, we don't actually decide, we just react. Yeah,
Well, you can think of our instincts as the genetic programming from our DNA. And
that's right.
so
Yeah,
you see a tiger, you experience an emotion, that's programmed.
that's right. Yeah, that's programmed in already. Yeah, and everyone seek fulfillment, and yeah, seek happiness and avoid pain, and all those are also programmed. And you need to eat to survive. That's also programmed. By the way, some people can change that even.
It is
I
interesting because some people can, they go on hunger strike and they die from not eating, which means we can override our programming.
we can, we can. But if their aim is actually to die, then they don't, or they can't alter the program. Some people can. I encountered people, a lady who hasn't been eating for 20 years when I saw her. 20 years.
Wow.
She doesn't eat. Yeah. People don't normally believe, but yeah, I believe it. But because she's not the only one. We did the experiment with people who had a limited uh, time of fasting, and was very successful. Maximum 49 days. Yeah, it's controlled experiment. Yeah, and he managed to survive. But if you extend that, in theory, you can do. I mean, the longest I saw was 20 years.
Did this person like not lose weight after 49 days of fasting?
No, yeah, this person lost weight, but the person who actually fasted for 20 years, she looked very normal. Yeah, she looked well built.
Interesting.
She, yeah, and she had cancer when she was young, and she healed herself by practicing qigong. I don't know whether you're familiar with qigong,
I'm not.
which she killed herself, and since then she found herself not needing to eat. Actually, eating make her uncomfortable. So I think through the healing process, self-healing process, she managed to have another sort of program installed. Yeah. Instead of relying on this food program, she rely on something else. Yeah. It's like we can operate a car with petrol, and we can also alter the car to install batteries, and we can operate batteries, and we can also even operate on the solar energy to drive the car. And therefore, if you change the programming, change the thing how it works, many things are possible.
That's really interesting. And does this also mean that if we all converge to the meta consciousness, that at higher levels of reality or virtual reality, um, we may converge on individual consciousnesses? For example, you and I might be the same consciousness 3 levels up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because we diversify. Yeah. It's like you said, we can play different avatars, multiple avatars. Yeah. So eventually we converge into one, but at different level of convergency. Yeah, it's the Platonic realm. The realm of forms have different identities, and those identities are basically the archetype of the level below. For example, you have in this reality we have different apples. Yeah, we have a red apple, green apple, small apple, big apple, sweet apple, sour apple. Yeah, and the realm of forms, which is a level above this, you have appleness. You have a abstract apple, which is perfect apple. Yeah, which is archetype. It's like a blueprint of all the apples. So from that archetype apple, you create different apple by adding different properties based on that archetype.
It's like
Yeah,
procedural generation that we do in video games.
that's right.
You have a base
Yeah,
model
yeah,
and then you apply changes to it.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, in this reality, we have different type of dogs, all kinds of shape and sizes. Yeah, we have poodles, we have Labradors, we have pugs, and at the high levels, we have dogness, which is abstract dog. Yeah, and in this level, we have black people, we have yeah, white people. We have different human species, but at highest level, we only have human. Yeah, I think every woman verge into Eve. Yeah, every man converge into Adam. Yeah, so that's the archetype. And then at a different level, we diverge into different characters with different properties. And the descendants is a process of diversification. Yeah. Why? Because the meta consciousness is the creativity, is the power to create. It needs to express the creativity through diversity. So diversification is the process of express the creativity. Yeah. So it become more and more. And when you play game, you diverge yourself into different avatars again.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, in a similar way that free will kind of reduces as we go lower, maybe creativity also reduces as we go lower because it fragments, becomes more diluted.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's right. The creativity. Yeah, as I said, the meta consciousness has the ultimate creativity. Yeah. We have limited creativity. Yeah. Although it's different in different humans. But in general, we are much less creative than those gods. I mean, at highest level, some people can call God, yeah, God with a big G. But the intermediate levels, we call it gods, the small g, yeah. And those gods are our archetypes. Yeah, they are ourselves actually. But they have much higher creativity than us. But they have less creativity than the big G God.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, perfect, Simon. We've hit about an hour now, so we can end the interview here, but that's been great having you on. Fascinating topic. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, if people are interested in know more, I have a website called metaconsciousness.com. Uh, there you can find my publications, my X Twitter account, my YouTube channels. So you can also get in touch. And I also offer individual consultation for those people who actually are interested in escape the matrix. Yeah, I can help people to design a way out. Yeah, way out of the matrix.
Have
Yeah,
you escaped the matrix yourself?
I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah, because once you understand how the matrix is made, yeah, you know where to go. And also, you can position yourself. Yeah. When I'm working with people, I initially to locate my client. Yeah. So they know where they are in the matrix. As I said, there's many levels. Yeah. And you find your location and you find where you want to go. And yeah, we can together, we can design a bespoke escape route. Yeah. It doesn't mean you don't come back again, but you have multiple level you can operate. Yeah. And it helps operating at this level tremendously because, for example, decision making is a critical part of our life. Yeah. And how do you make a better decision? Yeah. Most people try and error. Yeah. It's like in a maze, you don't know where the exit is. You can't see the whole maze. By getting a level above, escape this level, you see everything clearly. Yeah. And you can make much better decision in your life. Yeah. So that's just one example.
Makes sense. So yeah, I'll put a link to your website in the description. I actually just checked. It looks like metaconsciousness.com is for sale.
Really?
Metacomputics.com, I think, is your website. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So metacomputics.com.
Right. Okay, perfect. All right. Have a great day, Simon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.